Hey guys, Chris here. I'm the Ukrainian Canadian. Today's January 11th, 2023, and let's get to the news happening in Ukraine, shall we? So, first news, there's actually a lot of surprising events that happened today. So, first news is that Poland has decided to send Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, and this was very surprising. But as I've said in my previous December video, my last video of December, I did foresee that for sure Ukraine is going to be getting them. It was just a matter of time when. And officially, Poland has said that they're going to be sending them. And Germany, if you guys don't remember, has said that they will be sending tanks if other countries step in. So this is kind of the avalanche that was needed. And I cannot wait to see these tanks being operated by the Ukrainian forces in the next few weeks. They're going to be amazing. They're exactly what Ukraine needs to really start their offensive in Luhansk and Donetsk and to really crush the Russians. I think that these things are going to be wonderful. So huge thank you to Poland. Poland has been one of the greatest allies of Ukraine ever since the beginning of this war, and I can't wait to see more of them coming through from other allies such as Finland, Germany, and other countries that are in possession of these tanks. So I think that this is really great news because this was necessary. The first country to step in was Poland, so Ukraine is not going to forget that. And along with these good news, Britain is also saying that they're committed to sending Challenger 2 tanks to Ukraine. Again, it's not known how many they're going to be sending, but these are also fantastic tanks. They've proven themselves to be very, very good, really good armor. They're a little bit on the heavier side, but their cannon is excellent. Actually, I saw a video that was quite funny, but they're also, I think, these Challenger 2s also make tea and coffee within the tank. So there's a special feature where you can make hot drinks. So I'm sure these are going to be very useful if they're going to be sent out the next few weeks as well to the front lines. So with Challenger 2s and Leopard 2s, there's no match. What the Russians currently have, even their best T-90s, they're no match to these really, really powerful European NATO tanks. So the Russians, it's over, game over for the Russians when the Ukrainians take possession of this. Even if it's about a dozen of them, of each version of the Challenger 2s and Leopard 2s, they can be just absolutely deadly. So cannot wait to see them in action. And a huge thank you to Britain and Poland to be the first ones to be committed to sending these out to Ukraine. So that's really, really great news. The other great news is that Ukraine is also getting archers from Sweden, and the archers are artillery systems that are produced by Sweden. And the particularity of this is that it's one of the most modern systems. It's comparable to a Caesar system from France that Ukraine already operates. But this one can fire 21 shells in less than 2.5 minutes. So the fire rate is unbelievable with this. And the accuracy is also extremely, extremely accurate. You can see that the system can hit targets at up to 30 kilometers with conventional projectiles and up to 60 kilometers with an Excalibur guided projectile. So insane range if you utilize it with Excalibur shells. And it pretty much puts it on par with HIMARS systems. And it can fire these at a will. 21 projectiles per every 3 minutes is insane. So this is great. And I think that it's been confirmed that Sweden's going to be sending about a dozen of them. And to be even more surprising is the fact that Sweden has only 48 of these. So they're literally donating 25% of these systems to Ukraine. I'm not sure if it's a donation or obviously there's some sort of financial deal going on between Ukraine and Sweden, but either way, they're going to Ukraine. And these are going to be great as well at really leveling the lines of defense and also the logistical lines of the Russians. So I cannot wait to see these as well being operated in eastern Ukraine where they're needed the most right now. And the last very surprising news coming out from Russia is the fact that Surovikin is out after only 3 months. This guy has supposedly resigned, and now Valery Gerasimov is taking his position. From my understanding, he already had this position, and now he lost it, and now he's appointed back. So this constant shuffling of generals really tells you how much confidence there is into the general leadership of the Russian forces. There is none. It's like, you're hearing your favorite sports team, just terribly losing this season, and the response is by just firing the head coach. The problem is that the Russian army is terrible at every position. It's not only a lack of leadership, but it's also a lack of morale, a lack of good training within the Russian forces. And the fact is that the Russians are just meat bags. Every mobilized soldiers is a meat bag, and Ukraine is going to be converting them into ground meat. And that's going to be ongoing until the Russians realize that, and until the Russians decide that they need to revolt and they need to do something about it. But that's not going to happen. As I've said, I do not expect any of this happening. And Ukraine is just going to continue converting the Russian soldiers into ground meat. That's just the way it goes. Unfortunately, it's innocent, lives are being put on the forefront, but these innocent lives, these people, these Russian soldiers are not doing anything about it. So unfortunately, it's going to keep going. So yeah, you see, he was even, what was surprising is that like a week or two ago, Putin was awarding him medals at certain events, and now he's being kicked out. But again, his strategy was pretty terrible from the beginning. He thought that by shelling civilian targets, killing civilians, destroying civilian infrastructure, it would somehow be beneficial to the Russian cause. But it only angered the Ukrainians more and angered the international community at what Russia was doing. And also, his pullout from Kherson was also devastating to the Russian morale. So overall, all of this to show that there is the leadership within Russia, the military leadership within Russia is incompetent, and Valery Gerasimov is not going to do anything better. There's no doubt about it. He's going to continue with the same strategy of continuing the mobilization, continue with sending Russian soldiers to the front lines and letting them die, and that's it. So overall, there's a lot of great and surprising news coming out from Ukraine today and Russia. Last thing is I want to give a quick update in Suryadar. The pro-Russian channels are saying that they've taken Suryadar completely. It's a lie. There have been videos coming out from Suryadar that the Ukrainians are still in their positions. Unfortunately, there is a lot of casualties on the Ukrainian side. We need to report on that. The Russians are having a lot of success in this front. And to be calling it success, I wouldn't say so, a massive success, because we're talking about, a relatively small city that the Russians have been trying to penetrate in the last, pretty much since the summer. And they've only pushed about 15 kilometers in this entire forefront since the summer. So to me, that's not called a success, especially for the thousands and thousands of Russian soldiers that died to just take part of the city. And yes, they're about halfway through. There is ongoing fighting in the salt mines and the mines that are within the city of Soledar. But it's also massive casualties on the Russian side. So we'll have to see. I think that it is very, very, it might be true that the Ukrainians in the nearby future might pull out of Suryadar and get better positioning, but that might be good as well, because as I've said in my previous video, this would give the opportunity to the Ukrainians to just level and pulverize the Russian positions in Suryadar. The Wagner PMC is giving it all right now, and they're losing their best as well. Even though Ukrainian forces here are losing some of their best soldiers, and the casualty rate is really high right now. The same goes for Wagner. And so I'm hoping there is, reports that Ukrainian reinforcements are coming to really have better positioning and give support to the ongoing battles. But, it's very, very unknown right now. There is a fog of war happening in Soledar. Again, Prigozhin and the Wagner are saying that they're almost taking the entire city, but I seriously doubt it. And unfortunately, the infighting is very difficult. And as I've said in my previous video, the Russians do learn from their mistakes. They're human as well. As much as I like to believe that they're inhuman, they also can learn from their mistakes. And they found a weaker spot in Soledar, and so they've put all their assets that they've put into Bakhmut, they've switched them into Soledar, into the northern front. And now they're just, trying to penetrate everywhere here to try to find a weak spot so they can get through and cut off this main road that leads into Bakhmut, cut off one of the supply routes that goes to Bakhmut to the Ukrainian forces. So they're really trying to make life very difficult here. So unfortunately, it's very heated, very difficult for the Ukrainian forces, but they are holding their line. And just pray for the Ukrainian forces that they have, the support needed to really defend. So, apart from that, there's nothing really else happening. Lots of probing attacks from the Russian positions all throughout Bakhmut, south and north and towards Bakhmut. But really, the Russians are really concentrated right now at pushing in Suryadar. They found that to be very successful, more successful front. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to give you a quick update about what's going on in eastern Ukraine, about all the help that is coming from NATO allies, and I can't wait to see these leopards in the front lines. And that's it. So please subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my updates, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.